Hi, y'all. I'm Allison. There were so many books in my October reviews that I decided it was best to break this video into two. So we will be discussing the last 5 from my October reads. And I am still testing out if anybody would like to play my TBR game, Just Spin It. I thought it might be fun to open it up to y'all, to my viewers. So if you've been wanting to try a TBR game, but you just don't want to go through the hassle of creating your own or don't know where to start, then I thought I would offer mine up. So what we'll do is at the end of my spins next month, if there are any takers, I will give your name and spin the wheel for you. And those will be the prompts that you can pick your books from. I'm willing to dig through your Goodreads or your Storygraph libraries and match books up to these prompts if you would like, or give you suggestions from my books. It's all up to you on how you would want to do this. So if you're interested, then let me know in the comments how many prompts you would like to be drawn, if you would like recommendations, which books I would choose for it, or if you would like me to go into your digital library and actually pick out books for you. You can then include your profile for either Goodreads or Storygraph. If you would like to leave that private, then go over to my channel page. Under About, you will find an email address for business inquiries, and you can send me your profile information there. And I would, of course, keep that private, but be able to access your account. And, well, not access your account, but I'll be able to view and see what books you have. Yeah, I hope I have some takers. I think it'd be a lot of fun to do for y'all and definitely make it more interactive. So I don't know if I'll be able to do for everybody, depending on if anybody's interested, how many spins. So we'll just kind of figure that out as we go. In December will be kind of the test run. If it works, then I'll start adding this to my game as of next year, or even turn it into a second video. That's a lot. Okay, as always, I will be talking in general terms about these books. I'll give you a layout of the setting and the main characters and the premise. Most of this information will be anything that would be seen on the dust jacket, so there won't be any spoilers. If there is a chance for something that is a spoiler, then I will clearly mark it on the screen with a big old tag so there won't be any doubt and you can easily pass it. And I will also have that in chapter break as well. So be clear, spoiler start, spoiler end. Don't want to ruin any books for anyone. All right, so let's get into the reviews. The Demon Trapper's Daughter. This one was a reread for me. This is by Jana Oliver, and it's another series. We are in post-apocalyptic Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta has fallen on very hard times, along with most of the country, I believe. There is no money for like city works or anything like that, and it's definitely a dystopian vibe to it. The world building is great in this one. So we follow Riley, who is a 17-year-old. She is the daughter of a demon trapper. Her father, Paul, is one of the best in the field. So the church hires demon trappers to, of course, catch all the demons. They range everywhere from like a little niffler type thing that goes along and steals little items in your house, little cute guys, up to the big bad boys that can knock holes in the street and take down a building. There's the whole gamut. They're sanctioned by the church. The church hires them because holy water is used to get rid of these demons. So Riley's father is training Denver. He is a 21-year-old or maybe older. Then Denver has been the apprentice of Riley's dad for years, and when she was younger, about 14, she had a crush on him, and he was like, no, you're too young for me, so kind of dismissive towards her because he didn't want to encourage her. So she's kind of grown up with a little chip on her shoulder in regards to Denver. And it's not that he didn't return her crush or anything so much as jealousy that he spent so much time with her father, and she felt that she was competing with Denver for her dad's attention. She's a strong female protagonist. She's determined to make her way. It's just her and her dad. She really wants to step into his footsteps, even though women are not typically in this field. And she does go against some gender bias with other members of the guild that she has to overcome. But she's determined she's going to do it. The relationship between her and Denver is great. He's protective of her. He's proud of her, but he doesn't really let her know that much. So there's no romance in this, but there's kind of a hint that maybe he's realized that little Riley is growing up, and he's definitely impressed with who she's turning into. They go from bickering to having each other's back. He's proud of her. She resents him at times. It's a very roller coaster ride of a relationship. So it's nice seeing all those levels of complexity between the characters. But it's so good. It's really action-packed, and you root for Riley. You just want to cheer for her. You want to see her succeed. And no matter how hard she trips, she gets back up and she's ready to just go out and do it again. Nothing's going to hold her back. You get a lot of character development, and the world building, again, is just so good. There's so much happening. It's quite fast-paced. If you do want to sample this series, again, there's a prequel, and it's Retro Demonology. This one is a very short 33 pages. Riley has just gotten her apprenticeship license, and she is going on her first case solo. And she's sent to this house of a couple. They've got one of those little Niffler type demons in their house. They're hippies. So they're offering her some special brownies, and their reactions, it's hilarious. But it does have a different tone than if the prequel could be misleading, because the whole thing isn't necessarily lighthearted and funny the whole way through. The book does have its, funnier moments, and it's lighthearted moments, but it's not as fluffy and light as the prequel is. So just keep that in mind. If you do start with the prequel, go from there. But it does give you an idea of the potential with the world building that I'm talking about, because even in just this one setting in this one house, it's very fleshed out, and you know these people so quick, and it's just 30 pages, and you're like, yep, I'm down for it. I'm there. Okay, so we've got LakesEdge by Lyndall Clipstone. This was a debut novel, and September's pick for Owl Crate. So it's a gothic fantasy, complete with a cursed lake, an evil, sinister death god, Lord Ender. We've got the feudal lord, Rowan Sylvanan, who is probably, I think, early 20s, known throughout the village as a monster for killing his family when he was a young boy. And then there's Violetta and her brother Aaron. They're 17 and 14 respectively. And Aaron has a secret. He has nightmares. Dark magic is definitely behind his nightmares. And if the villagers become aware of this, Letta and Aaron will be outcast. There's no way around it. They will be feared, just like Rowan. Things happen. Letta and her brother end up at Rowan's estate, and the three of them must work together to defeat the sinister things that are going on in the town. There's some evil at play, and it's going to fall to those three to bring it to an end. The book had very gothic vibes, great atmosphere. I'd say probably about 3/4 of the way through, that atmosphere kind of dies away as it becomes more plot driven and more focused on that. The spookiness of the book kind of fades out, which I guess would be reasonable, because as Letta and Aaron get more comfortable environment, I guess it would kind of lose that gothic feeling. It slowly reveals what's happening in this world and the conflicts that our main characters are facing. It's written in the present tense, which is intended to lead to that suspense and the not knowing, because they're not telling you something after it happened. They're telling you as it's unfolding. There were times that I was pulled out of the story because very heavy-handed with calling Rowan a monster. It just got really repetitive, and it's like, yeah, I get it. Move on. You know, we know that. But it didn't reach irritating levels. It just kind of flirted with that, where it was just a little heavy-handed, not so that it ruined anything. So I did like all the characters for the most part. Another issue that I had with it is the characters keep everything very close to their chest, all of their secrets and their motivations. Even though they're working towards a common goal, they don't share any information with each other. And if they had just taken 5 minutes to say, well, blah, 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 because of this, a lot of the extra conflict would have been avoided. And I personally do not like that in my books. I don't like when vital information is held back to where the whole time you're just like, want to whop them upside the head. And it's like, well, if we just tell them why, they'd be like, oh, okay. And they'd agree with you and go along. And instead of this all, well, why won't they tell me this? And I don't need that extra conflict from keeping secrets. There's a time for secrets and a time when communication is key. And this one, communication would have alleviated quite a bit. It wasn't to the point where it ruined the story, but it was just a personal preference. So somebody else may not even see that as an issue. It might just further the plot along for them. So again, personal preference. I did like the slow buildup of Letta and Rowan's relationship, but I was a little put off by how quickly they went from a first kiss to jumping into bed. That was, again, I would like to see some in between. I don't know if that was just edited out by publishers, if there was more in there and they tried to trim it down. I'm just guessing. The world building in this was really good. I really liked the magic system and the underworld aspect. A little ways into the book, you get like a Beauty and the Beast vibe, and then it moves on to Hades and Persephone's vibe, but it's not a retelling by any means. It just kind of, it's reminiscent of those two, and I did enjoy that. Although I still haven't quite rated. I think I finally settled on a 3 for this one. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It just, I'm not compelled to continue on if this is a series. It's not one that I closed and was like, oh, I want to stay with these characters. I want to read this again. I want to live in this world. It just kind of, it's like, okay. I suspect that this one might be one that I would appreciate more during a reread, but I don't really have any sound reasoning for why. Maybe just because I like the cover, and I did like the magic system and the slow building of it. I really did like that. So if you have gotten this book and you've read it, this just came out, I think September 21st. Let me know your thoughts on it, because I'm not quite sure how I feel. I think, unfortunately, it was one, once I finished reading it, it just went out of my mind, which I don't know if it's as obvious to you as it is to me trying to do this review of this one, but I am really fumbling with it because I don't really remember anything of it and didn't really leave a lasting impression on me, which honestly I think says quite a bit. But I'm going to give it a 3 because, again, it wasn't bad. It was good. I like the writing. I don't know. I am curious to see what this author will do, though, in future works, because this is a debut and it's very promising for a debut. So I don't know. We will have to see. So let's move on to our, I believe, last batch. Next, we have Skeleton Creek by Patrick Carman. And I'm also going to toss in Ghost in the Machine as well. This is book 1 and 2 of the Skeleton Creek series. This is a mixed media series. You have the books, which are told in epistolary form. This is Ryan's journal, and our other main character is Sarah, his best friend, and her version of the story is told in videos. She's a budding videographer. So you're reading the book, you'll come to a page with a password and an illustration. So you go to your computer, pull up the site and type in your password, and then you get to see Sarah's video, which is her response to what is going on with Ryan's journals. Ryan and Sarah in a small town in Oregon. The town has gone dry, basically. It was used by a company from New York to drill for gold. There was this big machinery out there that was tearing up the land to get the gold. The entire little town was centered around this, but it was closed down. So the dredge is still there, and Sarah and Ryan go out there at night. There's an accident, and then it opens up this whole mysterious question. The kids, they want to know what's going on at the dredge because they thought they saw a ghost. It's a great book. I love this. I've probably read it 4 times now, and each time watching Sarah's videos, I still jump. I don't know if I'm a scaredy cat, but they're really good jump scares. It's very atmospheric. I like Ryan's writing style. And book 1 is by far the best in the series, followed closely by book 2. So in the first 2, we are dealing with the mystery out at the dredge and the ghosts and everything that comes from that. Ryan and Sarah are trying to get to the bottom of it. There's a secret society, and they're being, their parents are not allowing them to talk to each other or interact at all. So they're, trying to work around their parents while still doing an investigation. And it's just, I really love these. Very atmospheric, a lot of fun. The Skeleton Creek leaves at a cliffhanger, and that is resolved in Ghost in the Machine. And then the series continues on, but we shift away from the ghost story. And in books 3 and 4, we are now looking closer at the secret society and trying to find out what they're up to. That this society may still be, pulling strings, and Ryan and Sarah want to get to the bottom of what's going on. These two have a completely different vibe. They scaled back the horror aspect of it, the creepiness, and I think they were trying to embrace the middle grade demographic more. So I think that's why it was kind of scaled back, so it wasn't quite as scary. This one is more along the lines of a mystery. I'm trying to figure out what the secret society is doing. There's a treasure map of sorts that they have to follow and decipher. One thing that really hurts these 2 books is, for one reason or another, the girl who plays Sarah is no longer in this. So they changed the girl who's doing the videos, which would be difficult to do. They try to explain it away, and she's not on camera as much. There are less videos in this one, almost none towards the middle of it. And the videos aren't as crucial anymore, to where you can just read the book without going online, because Ryan explains everything that's in the video and then you watch it. So it's kind of anticlimactic. Where in the first 2, you had to go watch the video if you wanted to know what was going on. It was much more reliant on it. And the videos are still good though, but this time they're exploring different areas in the U.S. that are haunted. So the first one, there's Portland Underground. You've got the Driscoll Hotel in Austin, Texas. Love that hotel. I've been there. It's gorgeous, and the history. Yeah, anything that throws in Texas, I'm there. And the other was, oh, the Winchester Mansion. And I think it's a graveyard for the next, I don't remember. But so all these sites are going to be visited. And the videos give you the history. There's like a little documentary video on each of these locations with the ghost stories and the hauntings that still linger today. The urban legends. There we go. The urban legends surrounding these locations. So while this is still entertaining, it did lose a lot of the magic. Sorry about the glares. We do lose a lot of the magic that was in the first two with having Sarah being so prominent on screen, and it changes. But these are really good mysteries. And if you have a reluctant reader in your household or your family with Christmas coming up, this series might be just what gets them into it, because for, the target audience, going to the computer and typing in the password and watching the videos, that would, I think, be very motivating for a reluctant reader. And it might just be the thing that unlocks the world of books for a student that hasn't yet been swayed to what a wonderful hobby reading can be. So these two, I give a 5. These two, I give a 3, just because it changes so much. There is a 5th book in this series. I don't own it, and if I can manage to find one that matches mine, because they're all in these little sleeves and hardcover, then I'll probably grab it. Otherwise, I'm not going to bother. I don't think I think I saw the reviews where it wasn't as good as the others, so maybe I'll check it out from the library and see if it really adds anything to it. Yeah, this might be tricky today. Come here. We got a new puppy. She's 3. We rescued her from the pound. This is Lily, and my daughter has left. Let me see if I can get her to look at the camera. Nope. So if she's whining in the background, I'm really sorry. All right, my friends, so that wraps it up. We finally got through all 10 books. If you would like to play my game, be sure and put your info down below. So anyway, I hope to see y'all next time, and we're just going to say bye now.